now, the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for June 26th. Well, here we are, another day in the tropics, and we have two tropical storms on both sides of the map here. Tropical Storm Enrique in the eastern Pacific and Champi in the western Pacific. Both storms pretty much have different futures, with Enrique having a future as a hurricane and Champi nearing the end of its life. Day 26 of hurricane season, the Atlantic Invest 95L, chances have been decreasing for that system, now down to 20%. It is entering cooler waters in the days ahead, but there is chances that this is not the end of it yet, so definitely going to be a patience test for that system. Day 42 in the eastern Pacific, hurricane season, Enrique there, expected to become a hurricane tonight or tomorrow morning. 5 tropical storms have formed in that basin at this point. Elsewhere, there is no future developments at this time. In the western Pacific, there's Tropical Storm Champi, was formerly a Category 1 typhoon, the second of the year. That is now zooming towards the north and could become an extratropical cyclone in the next 24 to 36 hours at the latest before it passes to the east of Japan. In the North Indian Ocean, nothing going on as per expected for this time of year there. Nothing really to look out for. There was Invest 94S in the southern Indian Ocean, although no models develop it, and it is pretty much past the normal time you would expect cyclones to form. Here is the Atlantic satellite imagery. You can see 94L south of the Cape Verde Islands. It's trying to get some rotation, but it hasn't really done that successful in terms of producing it. Could be seeing another tropical wave come out the next few days, and there have been some models that tried to develop it. In the eastern Pacific, you can see Enrique developing quite nicely there. It's definitely gotten itself much more organized compared to it the way it was last night. And it has definitely been starting its quick intensification trend. And it is likely we do see a Category 2, possibly Category 3 hurricane out of it. There's Tropical Storm Champi there in the western Pacific, quite clearly visible on the map there. Nothing else really on the horizon after Champi continues its weakening trend that we're expected to see. And it is expected that Champi does become extratropical soon enough as it passes towards the east of Japan. So nothing on the horizon, although of course it is the western Pacific season, so always be on the watch for that, especially as we head into the later portion of the season. North Indian Ocean, not really much going on. That monsoonal activity that we've been seeing in the Bay of Bengal has been calming down some, and nothing really in the Arabian Sea. Zooming in towards Enrique there, of course it's very clear that it is getting organized and much more noticeable as it continues to the northwest. Could be affecting Mexico and parts of the Baja Peninsula over the next few days. Those there in southwestern Mexico and Baja should be monitoring the latest. Here are sea surface temperatures for the region, 29 to 30 degrees Celsius temperatures near where Enrique is currently, and those are expected to drop off towards around day 4 to 5. So pretty much the more easterly track that Enrique takes, the more concerning it does become for parts of Mexico. In terms of the Atlantic, that has been warming up. The main developing region is starting to see more areas with 27 to 28 degrees Celsius temperatures, although of course it's really the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean that's the warmest at the moment. North Indian Ocean looking pretty warm right now, although there's really not much in terms of conditions that would allow for a cyclone to form there. Western Pacific is also extremely warm there. Of course, it would take the right conditions for a pretty decent storm to form there. And of course, with the South Indian Ocean and the Australian region, nothing really going on there as it should, as the temperatures are not conducive for development, not at all much anymore. So the Southern Hemisphere should stay closed for business for the time being at the very least. Sea surface temperature anomalies, that cold spell continues for the Pacific, all the way from Baja to Hawaii and even areas southwest of that. In the Atlantic, of course, it's still warmer than average, especially in the subtropics, and of course with the western Pacific, it's pretty warm towards the northern latitudes of that region. On this day, June 26, 2007, tropical cyclone Yemenian was making landfall in Pakistan, bringing over 140 deaths to the region. The remnants would later cause 80 more deaths in Afghanistan, making this an extremely deadly system for a tropical storm. Of course, this was only a deep depression operationally. It wasn't given the name Yen until post-analysis. On This Day is powered by Cyclone History. You can find them on Twitter at the handle listed below the On This Day tag at Cyclone History. With that said, here are the next names for the respective basins. For the Atlantic, the next two names there are Danny, followed by Elsa. In the Eastern Pacific, the next name now is Felicia, followed by Guillermo. In the Central Pacific, surprise, surprise, Hone remains the name that is next on the list for the umpteenth millionth time. In the Western Pacific, the next name is now Infa, followed by Sempaka. In the North Indian Ocean, the next two names there are Gulab and Shaheen. Probably won't be seeing those for a while at this time. And the Southern Hemisphere, time remains running out for that southwestern Indian Ocean to get names. The next name there is Kanga. In the Australian region, Patty and Ruby are the next two names. In the South Pacific, the next name is Cody. We'll see you tomorrow night for another Tropical Weather Bulletin.